Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stocks, and we'll start with the S&P and the NASDAQ. Just before we start though, we've done an upgrade to this Elliott wave program, so now you'll have more functionality on this. You'll also need to log in just using your normal Trading Lounge username and password, and also too, just while I'm here, we've been working on this portfolio summary here. So that's just about complete. There's just one little bug in there that I've got to complete. Once that's done here, then I'll add it to the crypto check and the Forex check and the commodity check and those sort of things. Alrighty, okay, so the SP 500. First of all, we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, we've got some of these big tech stocks with their earnings, so just be a little bit mindful on that, and also confirm those as well. So, because some of these dates are not not confirmed. Okay, so the S&P here, we're looking for 5 ways to the upside. Now, there's 2 ways to be looking to the upside. I'll just explain them, and it's just something that we need to work through. One of them is that we have a wave 4 that's coming down, and we have a wave 5, and that's it, and then we have our ABC pattern, and then we go up. Okay, that's in a lot of the stocks. In some of the stocks, we just need to be a little bit mindful that we come down for the little 4th wave here, like this, and then we go up, and then we actually have another one, and then we go up, and then we have our ABC correction. So we just got to be a little bit careful about the tops, and because we've got earnings, and tops never kind of finish the way that you want them to, and sometimes they're a little bit tricky to work out, because sometimes the move up here is not perfect, and it could be interpreted, some section could be interpreted in different ways. So it's always good to be open-minded, but look, as I said, we're at old highs here, and a lot of markets are like that, not all, but like many stocks. So yeah, and then we're at strong numbers like 6,100 here and the old high. So yeah, just be a little bit careful here. I mean, in a bit of a nutshell, what I'm looking for is, I'm not worried about the top. I mean, yeah, we've got a few long trades in, and we'll navigate those the best we can. But in a bit of a nutshell, what we want is, we want to see a definite move down. And if it's a wave 2, then it should be a 5-3-5 structure here. Now, how far it comes down is also a bit of a guessing game as well. I mean, really, it can come between, once we got the top in here, it could come down, 40%. There's good support here. Could come down 50%. Could come down 61.8%. Could even come down 78.6%. So as always, what we can do is the best way forward without, getting into the guessing game, because once you lock in an opinion about something, then you kind of tend to sort of play it out, and opinions can get you into trouble. So it's better to try to stay with the evidence. So we're going to be counting 5 waves down, 3 waves back up, and 5 waves down. And this is including stock as well. And once we look at, a good handful of big stocks that are all doing the same thing, we should be able to get a bit of an idea of where this is going to land for most markets. So I just think stay open, stay flexible, and stay safe on those, okay? And obviously there's stocks like Apple that are moving, that need to find, a new low, and we'll look at that. Anyway, I won't bore you to death with conversation. Let's just go and check out this particular trend to the upside here. So yeah, I mean, one of the things here is, well, a few things really, is we've seen it's nice and strong in the middle here, and so we did get this gap up here. Maybe it was, I don't know if Donald was talking or Netflix had their earnings or whatever, but you can see that, from this low over to here, you can see the angle of this now. So it's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So, it is slowing down. So yeah, we just need to be a little bit, mindful of that. I'll just drop in this count here. Now this count here, like we had last week, was basically saying that we had we'll have, let's just pretend this wave 4 is finished. Wave 4s can get a bit complicated. This move down here could drop down to the wave 4, one extra move here, so don't worry about that too much. But just in a bit of a nutshell, we can get something like this here, and then we'll come down. So that's one pathway to the downside. And like I say, we don't know where that low is here just yet. And we'll look to go long above this B wave here at this point in time, okay, when that when that occurs. So this A, B, and C here, this will be our starting point. But what we'll also do as well is we will be looking for this little move up. Once we get 5 waves in the C wave here, then really all we need to do here is just really look for the whoops, I've got the wrong thing here. I can just use this anyway. We're just looking for the first little 5 waves up. I don't mean this big 5 waves here, I mean this one here. So we'll look for that first 5 waves, and then there'll be a little ABC pullback in there, and then we'll drop this one down into this little section here. The other point too, this is the SPX here. So I was having a conversation with one of our members, and I thought that what I could do is put any long trades out here in terms of the S&P and the NASDAQ as perhaps the triple Q and the SPX, and actually load them into this section here into the trade recommendations as ETF trade. So I thought that was a good idea for the time being, because I don't have CME data coming through on this particular program, so I'm sort of left with the cash market to work with. Anyway, we'll talk further about that, but I thought that was a really good sort of start. Okay, so the takeaway here is that, do we get this more sort of complicated top, and this will be in some of the stocks as well, or do we get something a little bit more simple in all of this? Okay, so what we need to do now is just bear with me while I go back to the daily chart here, and we're going to go over to the NASDAQ. Okay, so with the NASDAQ here, we're going to treat this move up here because we're, in a bit of a nutshell, we're looking for, we're looking for wave 1 here, 2 here. Don't worry about this too much over here. I haven't really bothered with that too much, and but we're looking for 1 and 2 here for this, so moving up here on this. So let's just move into the 15-minute chart here. And one of the things we talked about last week was when we're looking for a wave 4, we like it to break out of the trend channel here, just to sort of something a little bit obvious, and that is good at this point. So let's just fill the dots in here. In this case, we could count this up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So this wave 4 here. Now this wave 4 here may get a bit deeper and a bit more complicated than those things, and drop down a little notch or two, maybe onto the 21.6 or something. But at the end of the day, it's in group 2 here. So 21,650 in here somewhere, and 50 there, and 72 in the 800 here. So that's all of group 2 support, which is started over here for that. So just into the sub levels there. But in this case here, we've got wave 4 here, and then wave 5 to the upside here. So 2 things here. I don't know if that's the low of wave 4. It's going to get a bit more complicated. And we'll look for this one more top here, and then the ABC. So if you're long in any of this here, then you need to be out. I'll just put it under that 22 there, just to be sure. And I mean, you might want to sort of go all through this, but if you've got leverage, you don't really want to. I mean, if it's stock, you can handle this 1 and 2 here. You can grin and bear that. But if you've got leverage and you're paying overnight financing or some sort of cost on that margin, then you want to be a bit more of a surgeon. So a nice clean cut exit here for that. So this counts a little bit differently because it's counted a bit differently in in this little section here. As pointed out last week, this low here is below this one here, but that's not the case on the SPX. So yeah, anyway, we're just going to be working the top again, and there's going to be stocks that are having their you know, their earnings Tuesday and Wednesday. So okay, so let me just do this laborious back to the beginning here, and we'll look at Apple. Okay, so Apple, you know, has been obviously doing something a little bit differently than, you know, the stocks that we, you know, the good half a dozen stocks that we look at. So I believe that there is another little low to come in here for this. Now we're quite deep into all of this support over here for this, and so yeah, I was kind of thinking that would come down maybe into, as I mentioned before, into the 215, 213, I don't know, maybe in this low here, some sort of little move down here and then finding support there. So let's just see how that goes. We don't want to go buying at the low. Do you know what I mean? That's something that we don't want to do. We need to get a really nice little impulse wave in all of this. So a little bit tricky to follow, but from this B wave here, we'll look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1 and 2 and 3, and last week we were waiting for the rally for 4. And we can see that we have a nice sweeping move down. We could view that as wave 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5. So a little bit, you know, bit further down here to go. Now the other thing here is I don't know if this wave 4 here is really complete, because I've only got 3 waves down here. So it's possible, quite easily, really, to have this as a big B wave here, and then have a C wave coming back up here somewhere, and then coming down. So just be a little bit mindful of that, because I don't, you know, I mean, it's just 3 waves, so that's really the evidence. So it can be 2 things, you know, it could be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and then come down. But yeah, so just be a little bit careful about that. And yeah, so nothing to see here, folks. So let's cruise on over to the next stock, which is Amazon. Okay. Okay, so we're looking for obviously a move up. I think I could move this, all these tops here further up into this space up here. So yeah, so we're basically looking here as far as the crow flies is that I know we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and be done with it at that point, you know, and have that top in and go for that wave 2, big deeper move at that point, and that's cool. But you know, judging on the size of things, it's also possible to have this as just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for 1 and 2, and then have this as the 3rd wave, 4th wave and 5th wave here. That's what I'm kind of thinking. But we'll see. We'll just, you know, as always, we'll just work through it and step by step. But yeah, a larger move to the upside does look like the case. So let's just go to the 15-minute chart. Just cut straight through here. So once again, the same as the S&P and the NASDAQ, we're looking for 5 waves up here. And within that, we'll just label it here. So just want to check on this, but so yeah, I'm just looking at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here to finish off here. So we do have a long trade in here. So I did put the wrong profit price in the spreadsheet, but I've adjusted that. So anyway, 238. But yeah, anywhere in the next high here, just, you know, move out from that. Now, if you are a longer term trader and you want to hold on, then that's fine too. And so for trend traders that want to hold on, or even take 50% or 60% off the top, or whatever's happening, I'm just going to take that up to the 240. It may or may not get there. So this would be roughly, we could pull all the way back here for this, so, and then move up again. So what I'll try to do at that point is get back in at this point. So because really this video is really about swing trading, but I'd sort of like to try to include trend trading in that as well. We do have some longer term trades sort of put in in the portfolio, Deutsche Bank and DFS and MicroStrategy, and we'll keep building that this year. Yeah, so if you're swing trading, then this is about right here. But anything above this new high here, take a little trailing stop loss and get out. Now, once I said, as I mentioned before, with just so you don't get sort of pissed at me, is that we could end up having a top here and then another one here, like I showed you on the S&P, and then this one here and going higher at this point. But I've learned from over time that the 240 here is the big number, and that if you're looking at short-term trade, then there's certainly going to be a dance at that number there. So just bear that in mind, and just good to play the averages basically. Okay, so enough waffling. That's onto intermediate and daily over here. Go to NVIDIA, which is the next one here. So with NVIDIA here, it has pulled down quite deeply here, and there's probably a case for putting this wave 1 on top here and looking at wave 2 here now. But I'll play it with one more little move to the upside, but it does look a little bit impulsive to the downside. And the other thing here too is that we've had increased volume on that last day for that, So the sellers are sort of in control of this. The earnings are on this in February, so they're way off at this particular point in time. Let's just go to the 15-minute chart here and have a look at this. So yeah, you can see how quickly this came down here. So one would sort of think that we could put this wave 1 in here and then have wave 2 coming into play here for this. So if you wanted to bail ship, then you can do that if you've got leverage in here, because you don't really want a winning trade turning into a losing trade. But if you don't have leverage, then I think we can chill on this, because whichever way you look at it, there will be there'll be more upside to this. In counting this here, you could count this here as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. It's just that you could also look at this low here and go wave 1 here and 2 here because of this 3rd, 4th and 5th here. So you'd have to jam in the other little moves in here. So it's a little bit one of those sort of things where it's a little bit tricky to count. So last week we had this as wave 4 here. So I'll just leave it at that. We'll just see what it looks like. But yeah, we left the stop out of the way. We've lost a bit of profit on this here. The 150. This is just another little point too that I like to make. So if I was trading this coming up to a large number, I always call 8 the profit taking number. Okay, so if I'm a short-term trader, I always look to take some money at 8. So that's something that you could think about. And what I've done on that further is I've dropped that down to 72. So I would normally be taking some money off at 72, because this little group 2 here is where the profit, because it's sort of like, if you had the number 10, for example, most people are thinking of 10. They don't really think of 9 or 11, the numbers, above or below it that much. It's always 10. It's just natural to do that. But if sharper minds come into play, well, then the number that they gravitate to is not 9, but 8, because they kind of want to, make something be a bit more positive about something. So 8 is a bit more positive than 9. Getting out earlier is safer than, you know, stretching it up to 9, so to speak. You know what I mean? So if it's going to get to 9, it's pretty much going to get to the next number as well at that point. So if it's going to stop, it's going to stop at 8. So 72 here and 8 here is 7. I find 72 a nice balance, but you could even drop it down to 65 if you're very short-term trading. That's what at the beginning of group 2, and then watch it. Anyway, just yakking there, but let's just see how this all plays out here. It might just push straight on up here. The other little point that I should make is that if this is wave A down here for this wave 1 and coming to 2 here, then we're going to have a B wave in here, and then we're going to come down here. Okay, so we should see after this little move down here, we should see a move back up. So you might want to get out at the 145, for example, which is the next strongest number to the upside there. Okay, so that's that, and let's mosey on along to the daily chart here, and at Meta here. So yeah, Wednesday's been confirmed for this market, so that's interesting. Okay, so once again, from this low here, we're looking at 5 waves up here. So you can kind of see a strong move here. So there's a little 4th and 5th to go here, and it could pull back to the box here, this you know, this little area in here as well. This number here, the 650, is a medium level, and we're definitely going to see that be useful in this space here. So let's just go to the 15-minute chart. We can see that the medium level has been reacted to, you know, on sort of arrival here for this. And yeah, so we've been looking at this move here. Let's just bring in some of this. So we looked at this as a WXY here for wave 4. It's probably, yeah, if you use that little spike there, you could probably look at all of this in a triangle to this point too, I guess. But it doesn't really matter. We still just need, in terms of timing for everything, we just still need, you know, we need the market to top and turn, you know, and then we can buy the dip, as the young bloods say, you know, and then we'll look for the B wave entry at the top here, but we'll try to improve that somewhere down here. I always like to see if we can get a position below the level and then start building a couple, you know, start building it above the level. We will be heading into a 3rd wave, so we definitely need to be on this train. Okay, so we'll just wait for that. But you can kind of see that if this is wave 1 here and 2 here, then we're sort of sweeping sort of nicely up here. Now we also just bear in mind that we've got one more move here, but it could be like the S&P and we get 2 more moves here. That wouldn't surprise me at all. So just be a little bit mindful of that. But once again, we're not quite there yet either with all this. Everything always takes longer than we expect, and it gets a little bit frustrating. I understand that, but there's nothing I can do about one's anxiety except my own. Okay, so we've got reported. It's already been reported. I just left that there for that. So we've basically hit 1,000 here, and you know, that's number 1 is the strongest number, so that's going to be a bit of a brick wall there. But we should see you know, the dance, you know, above it and below it. You know, we're basically looking for the standard sort of pattern here. We've had this. We're looking, you know, we're in this here. We're going to be looking for this, this, and this, and then we want to be over here somewhere in the same timing of all the other markets that we're looking at, basically. So. As always, there's nothing to trade, and then there's everything to trade in terms of this moving to the upside here. We're going to look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here to make this wave 1 up here, and then a wave 2 pullback in here, and then we're going to move in again. You know, we'll see how you know, we'll see how deep this comes. You know, it might be deep way down here. It might be quite shallow here, and then it's like, if it's shallow here and then moves up, then you'll say, well, why do we bother getting out? But we don't know that yet, so it could come back down here and then do that. You know, so because we don't know, we can't really manage our exposure that well. So always good to take money at a level there. So that's where we are for this market. I've just got to make sure that I go around the right way with all of this, because I need to also put the timing in for the video as well. So over to Google. I was a bit excited about this one actually, and I put a trade in over the weekend for this to buy new highs here, but I thought I'd better wait and just see what's what at this point. So because normally, you know, we've got the arrival here, we've got the reaction here, we're looking for the first high above the level and then a correction and then sort of up again. It's not, you know, not a perfect thing, but everything's sort of playing out. So when it does push up, then it will want to come back and test it. So that's when it becomes a little bit interesting for us. So I was going to put the entry on here for this because we got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4 here and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this, but I'm not going to do that. But if it's okay to do that at this point. But yeah, I just want to see how I want to see the other markets, you know, because the other markets are just basically going to push up. They might have 2 highs or 1 high, and then they're going to have an ABC and then go up. So I think this is going to be a bit the same. So I just want to sort of wait this out a little bit. The count that we've got here so far is pretty clean in that from wave 4 here we've just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. Now perhaps I could put that wave 5 up here for all of that. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky with the spikes, you know. Yeah, look, but basically it looks sort of all okay-ish at this point. But I'll just wait a little bit. But if you wanted to go in, you know, then buying, you know, buying this new high here would be at 201 would be fine. Just have to have a wide stop because it's, you know, maybe I've got this wrong. This is a little bit early. This is, you know, this 5 waves up here. You know, is a little bit, you know, in front of the other markets a little bit. So anyway, I'll just going to remove that there. And I'm just going to wait a couple of sessions before we go in on this. And that's that for Google. And let me just go to the daily chart here and go over to Microsoft. So with Microsoft, I've got wave 4 here, and I haven't labeled any of this here because whichever way I label it, there would be, you know, there would be good debates on how we could do it. As I mentioned before, you know, this move that was coming down here, we were looking for a low, and I was going to use the classic trading levels pattern to go long here, but it gapped, so we didn't quite get into that. We missed that boat. But in a bit of a nutshell, you know, if we put the idea, because I didn't understand this pattern clearly enough to give a prediction about it, I just had to tie it in with the other markets, wait for the other markets to have their lows, and then start working to the upside. So in working to the upside here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here and 5 here. Then we're going to have an ABC pattern here. So in a way, this is quite simply 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here, and then we're going to have some sort of ABC pattern here. So then we'll be picking it up at this point, you know, in a nutshell. So it's also got to be a little bit careful as well. It's probably not the case, but you know, if we had 5 waves up here, right? So we took out the top here or whatever, and we come down here. Well, then you know, this 5 waves up here could be part of a correction in some sort of, you know, A wave down here, some sort of correction that ends in a C wave up here and then comes further down at that point. So that's why going long above the B wave here and waiting for a setup after these 5 waves here is the right thing to do. I don't think this is the case coming down here. Doesn't make any sense, but we just need to be a little bit mindful. This needs to be confirmed on the January the 29th, so that's in a few days. Let's just go to the intraday and understand this move to the upside, which is pretty clear. I mean, well, some of it is. We've got this wave 1 here, right? And then we've got this strong move here. So this is a little bit of a dog's breakfast in here. But one would have to say we could go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So there's a couple of different ways to count it. So we just have to wait. We know that it's going to push up, but we don't want to chase it. And then it's going to come back, you know. So that would be that. Let's just drop this into here. So this is the count that I've got. This is probably the most logical count at this point with 1 and 2. And then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the third, the fourth, and the fifth up here. So yeah, and that could go up here further too, by the by. You know, it's a good stock. If you wanted to buy it, that's fine. You know, because we are the thing here. We are getting the 5 waves here, and it is in line with the general market as well. It's just that, you know, as a swing trading thing, we've got to try to do better. You know, than just jumping in. But as a trend trading move, then, you know, this is fine. So, you know, it's all risk on at the moment, really. That's the thing. That's what we're looking at. We're just trying to sort of, you know, improve on things. So put this into here and onto the daily chart here and come down to Tesla. So with Tesla here, we've got this nice, from wave 2 here, we've got this nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So yeah, we're in a wave 4. The 38.2% retracement level is actually a little bit lower on this. So we just to point that out here, is down here. So we've got wave 4 here, and you know the other markets are pushing up for wave 1. So we've tried to look at this in a positive light as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and we can go long above the top there. If we go long above the top there, this is currently 3 waves up there, because 3 waves here could be corrective, and that means that, you know, technically we could come down to here first and then go up to here. You know, that's also doable as well, because really that's in 3 waves here. So this wave 4 could come over to here for this. It's just that the other markets are pushing up, but obviously Elon with the you know, with the salute and looking into his background, you know, grandparents and all those sort of stuff, moving to South Africa and all the rest of it, you know. So anyway, there's a story sort of emerging there, and so, you know, we're seeing bumper stickers, you know, on Teslas. So basically, you know, I mean, without getting political about it, I mean, half the people vote for you know, one football team, and the other half vote for the other football team. So if they're all buying your, you know, product, and you've chosen a side, well then, you know, you're going to lose folks. So they've got earnings on the 29th here as well. So, you know, they could be softer. Do you know what I mean? You know, based on, you know, the political personality thing that's happening at the moment. Who knows? I don't know. But I don't know when those earnings were taking place as well. Do you know what I mean? They may be, you know, well, over the last quarter. So would they have taken any effect, you know, less buyers at that particular point in time, you know? And the other thing too that we need to realize is that, you know, the EV market is strengthening now. There is competition, you know, in Europe, you know, in South Korea, and the Hyundais, you know, nice little car, and, you know, they made cars, you know, electric cars, you know, they created their factories from scratch too, like Tesla did. You know, a lot of companies like Ford and all the rest of them just sort of added onto their thing. So the, you know, and BDY, and, you know, so there's some pretty stiff competition out there now. So we'll see what comes. But look, it's quite, just letting you know, it's quite possible to have wave 4 sitting down here for this, okay? But in the meantime, you know, we're traders, so we want to look for opportunities, and the opportunity is in this space here. So this is the ABC pattern here, and this could be an A, B, and C here, and we come down here further, just as I mentioned. or we can look at this here as more positive, as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, as we were last week here. And last week we were looking at having the entry on the top here roughly, and then we could bring it down to the B wave, and then we could probably bring it down to here. We also had this little pattern that I've got here, if I can grab hold of that. We had that sitting up here. That's the classic trading levels pattern up here, so we can just bring this back over to here. So we started up there with it, right? And then last week we talked about bringing this little pattern down further, so down onto this level here. So we could still do that, but we could also now bring it down to this level now, because we're coming down here. If this is going to come down a bit further, then we could use this over here. So I'll be a little bit mindful of that. So we don't even have to put in a full entry here. We could just be when did I say those earnings are coming out? Wednesday. Okay. I don't like news events, and you know that news trading's a whole different ball game, isn't it? Let's just say they have good earnings. What are they going to jump up, like 5%, 10% or something? And that's just going to ignite wave one at that point. So we'll have to wait for it to pull back and then go in. So yeah. Anyway, I'll mull that over a little bit further. Let's go to Bitcoin now. And with Bitcoin here, look, it's kind of the same as the NASDAQ and the other guys, you know. So we've got the wave 4 here, and we're looking up for wave 1 here, and then we're looking back for a wave 2. So sometimes the market won't come back. Well, basically the question is this, right? Is that, can we just go straight up from here, or are we going to have this here and come back down to this point and go up? That's one of them. And the final one is, do we come down here further and then go up? They're the three things. They're basically the three things here. So based on those is that on this one here, for example, that means we could go long above this top here. So if we go to the 15-minute chart here, let's just go in and have a little look at this. So this is the pattern here, and there's different ways to count it. I mean, obviously it looks like a bit of a triangle sort of pattern, doesn't it? You know, it's basically got really good support now on top of the 1000 area here. So, well, as always, we basically start from the top and then we come down to the second level, and in this case we go over here because we got this move up here, so we're looking for a possible ABC, so we got that. So this little move up here is corrective. Well, we could look at it as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then continue to move up. That little high here to this little low here, that's the 61.8%. So I'm thinking we might get another little high here, and then move in at this point. I've got some pocket money to go into this market, and I'm looking for an entry as well. But I'm thinking to myself, well, you know, I don't want to sort of, you know, if this is going to fail and come back down here somewhere, well then I want to pick it up down here somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Once we've confirmed a low and we've confirmed the next trend to the upside as well. So I'll just see how that goes. When we look at our crypto boys, let me just have a look here for a moment. Oh, I've got to log in on this one. Here we go. So this is Kitty Upon's move here. So he's looking at wave 1 over here, and I've looked at that too, so that actually works. And a WXY with a triangle in it here as an A, B, C, D, and E over here. So that little rally to the upside here, and he's looking at the same thing, an entry above here. So that's really quite significant, that entry point there. If not, we could get a better entry point down here. The other count that somebody's got here, which is quite interesting, let me just find it, this one in here. So he's got this coming down as a wave 2 coming lower, testing back down below the move here. So the main takeaway is here really is that we can see that we've got a we can see that we've got a bullish corrective pattern, and we've got an impulse wave here, so we should see some sort of correction and then go up again. It's just how this correction is going to play out. That's the important point here. So like I said, I've got some money for myself to go into this, a bit more of a trade because I need the money. So don't we all? So I need to take it out again as well. But I wanted to capture, the trend to the upside here. So I'm just going to buy new highs, and I'm just going to wait for the second high here. So this entry at this point, and if I can get another one, another entry here, because I need this to push up and test the supply up here. And if that is indeed the case, we do see some little move up here, such as this here, and then some sort of pullback here, then I'll end up with a better, whoops-a-daisy, let go. I'll take this high here or the second high here for this. So just to sort of improve things. I want the market to prove to me it's strong by making new highs, and then I'll step on that bus and then I'll go on that. Okay, that's basically what I'm doing. So that way I cut through all the possibilities. I don't get the best price, but I get a safe price, and I head in my direction in the right way quite quickly. Now, obviously, anybody in the crypto market understands that one of the key things here is a Federal Reserve. That's one thing, but they've already got quite a few Bitcoin they took from Silk Road and all the rest of it. But the main point for me really is integrating some regulation into the banking system itself, because it doesn't only affect the US, then that will affect, well, I'm here in Australia, and we're like the 52nd, third state or whatever, Australia doesn't really do much without Washington, can't do much without Washington, calling the shots really out here even. So our banking regulation will change, the UK will change, Europe will eventually change, and, they'll all be, once somebody takes a chicken wing off the table, the rest of the people pile in and grab one as well, Alrighty, that's that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.